Hey guys, and welcome to a new video, and we have something very special today. We're looking at the grand final of the mid-season Brawl, which was played between Genji and Dignitas. So this just happened yesterday, and it's probably one of the best competitive Heroes of the Storm matches that you will ever see. If you haven't seen the full Best of 7 series, you just should definitely go watch this now before you watch this video here. There will be spoilers, so just expect that, and obviously I will not give you all the details about the other games, but we want to watch this Towers of Doom game and just, see the glorious battle that happened here. So we have Genji on the left side in the blue team. They're playing Mafurin, Garrosh, Falstad, Hanzo, and Dehaka. So they have two global heroes in Falstad and Dehaka here on Towers of Doom, which is not that unusual, but it's definitely not something that people expected to see, especially Falstad was considered to be very squishy and not very meta. On the right side, we have in blue Dignitas with Snitch on Genji, not Genji, Zelia on Sukov, Wooby on the Blaze, JPL on Varian, and then we have Poik on Li Ming. And Varian was the surprise last pick here on this game. They had played it one time before, Dignitas had, and they lost with it. So it was very interesting to see them playing this. So this game is interesting for two reasons. Obviously, Genji is one of the best teams in the world. Like, they didn't lose a map until they played against Dignitas. So them being basically pushed back by Dignitas and Dignitas winning a couple of maps was already crazy. But this map especially was amazing. Like, Towers of Doom is one of those maps that definitely shows that you can have comeback mechanics here in Heroes of the Storm that make games really interesting. To have a quick look at what things are happening, as you saw, Genji's wave clear is much better at the beginning than that of Dignitas. That is especially true because Varian doesn't have wave clear, Genji doesn't have wave clear. Sukov's wave clear is okay, but it's not amazing. Li Ming needs to position herself very well to do great wave clear damage or great minion damage, meaning she also suffers quite a bit from this. And the only guy that is actually pretty good is Whoopi. And he's up here fighting Kyocha, which makes it difficult for him because Kyocha is one of the best offlaners as well. So this is one of the things that I want to mention as well. In Hero League, you don't do this or don't see this as often. But as you can see, it's 1 minute and 70 seconds. So both teams took the Zapper camps here. And both have the same idea with this. They want to bring the Zappers in. This is a very routine combo. Roots, and then normally he probably would have been thrown. And this is what Dignitas wants to do. They want to blow up things. This is a blow up composition. On level 4, Varian gets taunt. So the idea is to charge into somebody, taunt them, and then Genji and Li Ming kill a Genji player with the burst. So even with the worse wave clear, they are able to clear the zappers of Genji, and Dignitas gets to bring in their zappers, which helps a little bit. Don't forget that this is also the patch that has the full XP on the towers, meaning that in this case, Dignitas actually got quite a bit of XP, as you can see there now. Maybe like a quarter level ahead of Genji. The top lane is for me very interesting because I want to learn more about top laners. And as you can see, both of them are very, very good in controlling their lanes. Wooby checking on Dehaka here, nothing's happening, and then they just see him. Obviously, for Wooby, it's a little bit more difficult because he doesn't know where Falstad is at every time, or at any time. So that means that he has to look out for Falstad as well. Let's have a quick look and quick check-in because this game is going to turn upside down a couple of times in this replay. So at the moment, Dignitas, because of the Zapper killing a tower, are ahead a little bit, still in XP. The top lane looks pretty even. None of the towers have taken any damage. Both Wooby and Dehaka are doing a great job to basically protect the towers. And what they do is, you will see this here, he tanks the minions when they come close to the towers, which means that they don't do any tower damage, and therefore there's no damage done at all. Genji has the rotation advantage at the moment, meaning they clear the minions much quicker, so they should be able to control this bottom point here much more easily. For the simple reason that they have a global here in Dehaka who will take this, and then Wooby will probably take this right one. That's generally speaking what happens in pro games. One side is taken by one team and the other side is taken by the other team. They normally don't fight about these here because first of all, you have a well here, and then also a better escape for the teams always on this side. So there's also more engage. They can engage from these two sides. So it's a little bit easier for them to fight around this. But in this case, it's again very clear because of their wave clear that they have more control over this area because their minions are pushing in here. Dignitas is going to lose this XP completely. That being said, Dignitas also has the XP pushed here, or the minions pushed here. So therefore, Genji has to clear this, or wants to clear this at least. But as you can see, the XP is still a little bit in favor of Dignitas. And now comes in place what is the advantage of Genji in the early game. There are only 4 people here: Falstad, Genji, Garrosh, and Malfurion. But Kyocha is still up here and so can XP. So he wants to eliminate this little XP advantage that his team got. This is what Dignitas wants to do. They want to make sure that they kill somebody quickly enough outside of Dehaka's time frame to burrow in, basically. So their goal is, Dignitas' goal is to charge on somebody, taunt them, kill them, before the global can come in and make it a 5 versus 5. Because the downside of the draft of Dignitas is they don't have a global, so they don't have the same ways to soak XP. And they, again, have less wave clear in general. As you can see, Indomitable by the Garrosh, and he gets out right away. And here's the issue that Dignitas says. Their heal is also not great because Stukov is suffering quite a bit of the sustain versus burst healing situation. His sustain healing is very good, but as soon as like his tank is in this position and can't, or he doesn't have any defensive cooldowns anymore, Stukov can't do anything, and Varyn just dies. And that's one of the issues that Varyn already had before his rework. He's super weak once he's in a position that he can't get out until level 10, when he can charge to his allies. And even then, it's still very difficult. As you can see, Kyocha just soaked both lanes while he was doing all the things. So when he came in, well, he's doing both soaks now, but when he came in, he just went back mid and soaked this XP because the minion wave was pushing up here and he doesn't miss that much XP here. So now Genji is invading here. And the cool thing about this is that Genji knows that their early game is stronger. Let's have a look at Dehaka. He doesn't have a burrow up for 8 seconds. So for Genji, this invade is actually very risky because, first of all, they don't have protection here from the mouth. Malfa doesn't have any regrowth up at the moment on anybody. But also, again, this is what Dignitas wants to do, right? They want a 5-man fight into somebody and blow them up. So let's see what happens. Taunt, no follow-up. Snitches down here doesn't do a good job. He could have followed up on Garrosh. Now Malf and Falstad are here, as well as Hanzo, who can like just kill Snitch as well. So he has to be very, very careful. And as you can see, the Garrosh could have been killed if there was a good engage into him. Into the Freyus on the Malfurion, but you saw how long it took for them to kill the Garrosh. If Snitch went in, it would have been much easier. And while this is really good, and they're getting another kill even here on Rich, during the whole time, Kyocha is just up here and soaking XP. So this is what Dignitas is supposed to do. Like, they are supposed to win these fights around these skirmishes, around the Zappers. That being said, Wooby, and if you look at the XP, he's struggling quite a bit. He's actually like 800 XP already behind Dehaka. And as you can see, overall, the XP actually is not that bad. Like, Dignitas is doing a good job. Like, they have a lot of people soaking the different lanes, but they don't have the 2 globals. And Falstad and Dehaka can just soak lanes whenever they want. So even with the kills, the advantage hasn't even grown as much. Remember, they took a tower here, but it doesn't give them enough to be significantly ahead. And their composition just gets weaker at the moment because, again, they're a very early blow-up composition. And as soon as Malf gets like Tranquility, and then later on Ice Block, for example, it's getting harder and harder for them to do something. So this is important. They take another tower here, and they also try to get the Zappers in, and Genji doesn't have a lot of tools to prevent that. So very well done by Dignitas. They're doing exactly what they need to do. Early game is their time to shine. This is something that the commentators pointed out during the game, the one auto spawn is a little unfortunate for Dignitas because they're ahead, right? So what they want to do is they want to get ahead further. And from what I understand, the commentators thought that one altar is an issue because basically Gen.G can just outpoke them and soak with 2 globals and catch up on XP. Well, if there was like 2 altars, sure, you have a little bit of the same situation, but you also have to fight around both of the altars. So there's more chances to have like a skirmish around one altar, while Genji, for example, takes the other altar and then joins the fight. So let's see what happens. So the job should be Gen.G just wants to poke. They don't want to necessarily fight here. They just want to prevent Dignitas from getting it, because Falstad and Dehaka are trying to get the XP close to what Dignitas currently has. Great route here. And Tist and Rich just run away. Dehaka borrows down, because they are also aware that obviously with a couple of minion waves here, Dignitas is very, very close to level 10, so they hope that they can get Dignitas to fight before they reach level 10. Ubi has to counter soak again against the Falstad because, well, that's just what you have to do. And now Genji just decides we let this go because you're too close to level 10 and we don't want to risk it. Again, this is exactly what they want to do with Dignitas. They want to now get Kyocha. He's been out of position here. They have good engage here with the Blaze, the follow-up of Dignitas, of JPL with Taunt, and then Zelia Poik with a little bit of damage, and then the burst follow-up from Snitch. There you go, perfect. This is perfect execution. This is how they want to play it. Get somebody out of position, put a slow on them, get the taunt, and then blow them up. The unfortunate thing about this composition, though, is that you can only do this once every couple of seconds. And once again, my friend has Tranquility, like he has now, it's going to be more and more difficult to blow somebody up, because obviously there's a counter engagement from the other team, but also if you don't kill the target, you already used all of your powder that you want to shoot. And then the Tranquility and the Merfurin just heals everybody up with his regrowths as well. So, as you can see, 4 kills to only 1 kill. Dignitas also have the tower here, the whole wall. They took even tower here, and the top is still very much under control. So even with the building advantage, Dignitas is not that far ahead, and that's where it gets tricky. Because at level 10, I want to say that the composition that Genji has is stronger now. Varian's taunt is not as successful anymore. It's more difficult to blow people up. And while the burst obviously gets stronger for Li Ming and for Genji, the heals from Merfurin also get stronger. Plus, you also have Gust now that can engage into you from the backline, for example, blow you into a bad position that you don't want to have. So I think now is the time where Genji, is much better in terms of positioning that with the heroes, with the power spikes that they have. Kyocha also finishes his quest, which is good. Let's have a quick look at other things like, so tissue regeneration is done. Rich, obviously, simple geometry is already done, like, I don't know, 3 minutes in or something. Like, these guys are finishing these quests super quickly. Like Hanzo's, if you want to know why Hanzo is a shit win rate in not pro play, and it has a good win rate in pro play, this is the difference. Like, just hitting the spells is just crazy. Falstad is also pretty stacked already, 21 at 8 minutes. It's really, really good. And then the only thing that is lacking a little bit is the Warbreaker. For the other side, as you can see, Grilling Kill also not doing very well because Wubi is just soaking both lanes. So you can't really do anything about that. So now Dignitas has a big advantage. They have taken the tower here. There's no camps to take, so this is really good for them because they can fight around these 2 towers without worrying of any zappers going in. On the other hand, if they were able to take the zappers, they would also have the threat of the zappers going in here. So now Genji is actually here with 5 people, which is surprising, you might think, because they have the globals, right? Their strategy should still be, we want to out-global you, we want to out-soak you. What's happening here? So they dropped a little bit in life as well as Dignitas, so there's the same amount. But I think Genji has the same idea that I have, and they think that they're stronger than Dignitas right now. So they want to fight. They don't necessarily want to wait for more advantages that Dignitas could get through some blow-ups. Nice dodge here by Kyocha. also dodges the combo from Li Ming. The Dragon's Arrow whiffs completely, unfortunately, for Genji. And now the bunker just like zones everybody away. Have a quick look. Not a lot of heroics have been used. We have Force of Wave still available. Bunker was just used, obviously, and then X-Strike hasn't been used yet. But on the other side, Tranquility is still there, Warlord Chalice is there, Isolation is there, Mighty Gust is there. So while Dignitas is used quite a bit of their heroics and their burst, Genji hasn't used anything. So they feel comfortable to stay around here and fight. And again, Stukov is similarly good as Myfurion with his sustain, but as soon as somebody is low like this, he suffers a little bit because he only has a heal every 16 seconds or something like that. But Myfurion can have small burst heals every 3 or 4 seconds with his Moonfire. And again, they're not afraid to go on the Varian because they feel that he is an easy target. Silence a little bit too late on the Myfurion. So now the Tranquility is out and healing everybody. And now we saw that Wooby had to go all the way around here to get to the well because he's so low, right? He can't be healed up by Stukov that much. So now both teams have used their heroics. And as you can see, Dignitas is actually struggling quite a bit. That's actually the Gust to find a kill. But now, again, Dignitas blow up works really well. Counter kill. And it's kind of an awkward position. I felt like when Zayla did this, when I was watching this live, I thought like, why would he do this? But now I see that he has very little mana, and he's, I think, worried that they might collapse on Snitch. And while Tist and Hyoja can do some control, they don't do that much damage. So without Rich, they probably can't kill Snitch, even if they get control over him. So this is still for fight. Also, obviously, the commentator said like, oh, he was pushed into the fort, which is enemy fort now, so he could have taken some shots here. But I think it's just to reset the fight, as there was a minion wave, and I actually don't think that Zayla really had the presence of mind to know if there was minions or not that could hit, so the tower would hit Rich or not. And I think that's very realistic. But again, in the heat of the moment, obviously you take all your thoughts and just put them together as cohesively as you can. So now the fight is a little bit reset, but as I said, Dignitas has the problem that their sustain healer doesn't heal up large amounts of health. Saka, on the other hand, also dropped quite low, so you had to tap here. And then now Fawcett has respawned and Blaze... No, oh yeah, actually, I think Fawcett respawned, right? He was dead. So Blaze takes some time, so they're 4 versus 5, and they don't want to fight here, so therefore they let Genji have the altar. And again, as soon as the camps are up and there's no other objective, they just do this. Pro players just always do these camps, and especially if you have control over this, you want to do these as much as you can. Like, pro players just always do these camps, and that's something that is very important on Towers of Doom. And I think a lot of like people, including me, they don't value these enough. And I'm not talking about like taking them and then like letting them die into the minion wave. They take them with a purpose. Like when these are taken, they want to push with them, or in this case, they want to retake their bell tower here. So Wooby is still in his position where he just like has to soak both lanes all the time. And I'm actually thinking about making another replay on him, or video on him, just playing the solo lane. He had I think, a subpar tournament for him. He was considered one of the best solo laners. I think, in my opinion, he is the world's best solo laner. The plays he makes is really incredible. But in this game, because of the double global, he's I think more so pushed to soak both lanes, not have his team fall back too far. Again, 5 kills to 2 kills, and the XP advantage is basically not there anymore. Dignitas also lost 2 towers in mid, and top is just like a little bit damaged, but they also lost a tower top for Dignitas, right? So their advantage of taking the fort here and taking these towers is gone basically now. If you didn't know this, the silence will interrupt the zappers. So any silence that doesn't have to be Suko's one. So the zappers, the animation of them running and exploding is basically a spell. So if you silence them while they're running, they just return to their normal attack state. And this is a very obvious play for pro players. This is how you defend the tower. If the Zappers were to hit here, this tower would be back into position of the blue team. So now Rich, one of the best Hanzo players in the world, probably mechanically one of the best players generally speaking. He can poke so much that Dignitas have to fall back, because otherwise they just get poked down more and more. They also fell back further in XP because Dehaka and Falset are just out-soaking them. Wooby can't soak both lanes at the same speed as Dehaka and Falset are doing it, and obviously he's also under pressure by them, because if he's out of position and they both use the global on him, they can just kill him. So now Dignitas is a little worried because they're losing in XP, and while they have a lead in life, I think that they feel like they're losing a little bit of the game control. They lost their bell tower here. They don't see a lot of people. If we just go into the vision of them, they do not know where they are. So they think they're the Zappers, but they don't know where the rest is. The vision is pretty much in the middle of the map where the minions are. So they don't know if they're like lurking around here, or if Genji is like already here. So Dignitas is a little worried, and that's what makes this game so good, because there's a lot of like back and forth, but also a lot of like mind games. As you saw, like the Hanzo arrow just like tried to also scout where Dignitas is. And again, you can see that Dignitas wants to fight. They want to blow out people. They all come together again, even if it's like still 25 seconds until the next altar. They're worried about the position here. They want to have the Zappers. They want to push with them. So they send Whoopi to at least come close here to see what happens. So we're going to go into the middle phase of the game now, which is more in favor of Genji. So their idea was to get Whoopi, and that was one of the focus things that Genji did over, I think, the whole series. Is they focused Whoopi a lot. So as you saw, like the Dragon's Aura came in, and then the Isolation came in, but their follow-up damage wasn't there because Whoopi was in the minion wave, which tanked quite a bit of the damage that Rich could have put on him. And then as soon as the silence from the Isolation dropped, he used Bunker, but only for a very short time to go in, and then now he has the armor. So now Taunt and into the... No, not into the fray. What is it called? These are pro players. I have to know and use the correct terms. There you go. It is called Wrecking Ball. There you go. So Wrecking Ball and Warlord Challenge was used. Whoopi super low. That being said, Zelia also silences everybody here now in the middle. Sake again got his tranquility off, but not before Hanzo dies. So now Whoopi finally goes down. And we're going to have a look again at this, because this is exactly why you should watch pro plays, to understand these things and get better at like chaining your own abilities with your teammates. Obviously, it's easier if you play with friends on voice, or if you have like, equally skilled people in your matches that are on voice chat or something, but you can definitely, train this. So Dragon's Arrow comes, the call comes, we go on Whoopi. Isolation. So Snitch is here, and as you can see, Dignitas is actually pretty late, right? They're here on Varian, and then Zelia and Li Ming on with Poik is very far away. So Whoopi surviving this long is actually incredible. And I think, Tist either misses the Groundbreaker or the Bunker tanks. I'm not 100% certain, but it's very frame perfect here by Whoopi. And it gives enough time for the team to come in, right? So now Whoopi is taunted and Warlord challenged, and Wrecking Ball hit together into the root. So now he's rooted and stunned. And now the counter engagement comes. So Poi comes in, jumps over here, shoots his combo off. And as you can see, because Hanzo initiated here as well, he didn't really pay attention. I think this is one of the mistakes that Rich made this game, and it's very unlikely to see him do this. So Dignitas getting this kill here is incredible for them, because again, Rich is one of the best players. That being said, Nomi, for example, the German caster, always talks about Rich being too aggressive sometimes. and causing these situations. But he initiated the original engagement on Blaze, right? So he might have just been overzealous. Again, immediately as soon as they see anybody who's not Garrosh, and even sometimes on Garrosh, they just go on things. So here, charge, taunt, swift strike, and here comes the combo. And they're lucky because the combo goes out before Li Ming gets stunned by Garrosh. Kyoto would have dodged it otherwise, though. And now there's the issue again. Varian is not very tanky, and because he doesn't have shield wall, he actually gets punished by the W build from. Actually, he doesn't have W build from Falsa, but like the Ws and the Q obviously still has a lot of damage. So it's very, very difficult for Varian to survive this burst damage if it's focused on him. If you were wondering what Zele was doing here, he knows he's dead. So he already knows he's dead here, I think. Like when he walks down here, Wrecking Ball into the sun, he knows he's dead here. I don't think that he can do anything. Lurking Arm is still on cooldown for a couple of seconds. Nothing he can do. As soon as he gets thrown here. I think he knew earlier already, because if you're so close to Garrosh, there's not much that they can do. Theoretically, I guess Li Ming could have tried to catch the Wrecking Ball. And now he just silences Garrosh to prevent him to heal up on himself, on Stukov. And Snitch and Politis try to kill Garrosh, but he gets cleansed, or Ninja's cured, and then runs away. So now we have a situation occurring that Dignitas will not be at the same talent tier as Genji for the first time in this game for a longer period. Dignitas is not too far behind in life at the moment, only 27 to 25. But now the global situation kind of runs rampant, because Genji got a couple of kills, so now they're in front of XP, and they still can soak all the XP with the 2 globals. Foster's going to get this massive wave for at least a couple of these minions. They're trying to get the tower here, which would then secure them level 16. And Sukov is still dead, so for them it's difficult. It's not difficult for them to engage into anything, because they know Dignitas doesn't have a healer, right? So any trades currently is better for. Holy shit, this is so good. Like, again, you should watch the whole series, because there's so many amazing plays. But just look at we're gonna look at this again. And I mean, remember, this is like zoomed out, right? This is the normal. Let's look at it in a normal level of zoom. This is the normal play level. This is how far zoomed you're in when you're playing. Look at this. Rich sees them now with the scatter arrow. And like they're clustered. Like Rich knows that if they want to dodge the arrow, they might walk all into here, because they don't want to walk like down here or up here, because they would be out of position, right? Look at this. Look, like how little of a window they have to dodge this. Look how. Holy moly. Like the reaction times of these guys is just amazing. So arrow missed, meaning no engage from long range. So the only thing that Dignitas has to be afraid of is Garrosh. He just used his Ground Breaker. And again, Dignitas is 5 people here, Falset is up here. And now Genji has 16. And for quite a bit, like a full level and a bit, Dignitas is not going to be able to fight on the same talent here. And they were like thinking about fighting, because they're 4 versus 5. And try to get a fight here, initiation here, before Falsa can do anything. Now it gets tricky. 3 altar phases is actually not that bad for Dignitas, because at least they can probably secure one of them, because Genji wants to take as many as possible. So the clever trade for Genji is to at least take 2, where they not get contested, and then leave Dignitas 1. while you want to contest as many as possible if you're ahead, there's also the risk that Dignitas just like avoids them all the time. And while Genji is not a global hero, he can still like jump around and take a sneaky backdoor one. So trading 2 for 1 is in favor for both teams because again, Dignitas doesn't have to fight around it. So they like to take some core life with them. And Genji doesn't have to do anything sneaky, anything too explosive. And as a plus, they also get the camp here. So Dignitas actually just hovers around here, which is for me interesting because I thought they would be just capping this. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're just going to interrupt Falset here, and then they're going to cap here. And Genji, as you can see, is not really interested in doing anything else. They also have the Zappers here that they want to bring in and do some more damage to the tower. So Genji now had 6 lives and nearly a level and a half. And they still have their global presence with False at top. So them pushing in here is very normal. That being said, they don't see a lot of the Dignitas players, so they're worried there might be gank, which is why Falsa just waited a little bit before his teammates rotated up here, so now he can do the camp. And now the pressure gets pretty big for Dignitas, because the global is really good to also increases from 17 to 20, while Dignitas is still 1.5 levels behind. So even if you are now on the same talent tier now, you have to make something happen. Dignitas wants to fight. They want to get something out of this, because they will not be able to catch up an XP against double global heroes. And Genji is like just smart. They just put pressure everywhere. As you can see, there's minions pushing here, Zapper camp here. This is pretty much even, but guess where the rotation from Genji is going? It's going bottom. And then they're also obviously taking the camps here because they don't have any concern that Dignitas could come in here and steal it, especially not with the piercing arrows and the W build of Hanzo. So Dignitas closes the XP a little bit, and it's only like a level now. It's still very risky for them to do anything mad, because if they now trade in a bad position, Genji will be ahead even more. Again, the silence play, take the Zapper out, save the bell tower. Genji 18, meaning this is actually perfect. Dignitas wants to fight around both altars now. They don't want to give Genji both, because as long as their life doesn't get depleted further, they have a good chance to just stay alive until 20 by like letting Genji capture some of the altars and not caring too much about the boss, for example. So Dignitas just wants to fight now to keep a lifeline basically on their set. So others went back a little bit because we missed an engagement here. And this is again where Dignitas' composition, in my opinion, was weaker than the one of Genji, because they really always had to rely on these picks. And Falzad is mobile, Hanzo is mobile, Dehaka is mobile and tanky. Garrus not very mobile, but he's super tanky. And then if you get Mafurian, he's dead no matter what you have. Like if you have Genji's composition and you get not the Zukov but the Mafurian, he's also dead. So he doesn't really count. And I think they didn't Dignitas didn't form their lineup around getting Mafurian. So again, good engaged by JPL, well thought out. That being said, Dehaka just burrows. They miss all of their combo. And now comes the counter engage. Hanzo, and he will this time not miss anybody. They're a little lucky because the gust also blows them away, but they still get stunned here with Stukov and Li Ming. I think Li Ming just teleported in to get the damage onto Dehaka. So now we have nothing out much. Bunker is still there, Exarch is still there, Messerschaft is still there. On the other hand, we have Dragon's Arrow out and we have Gust out. And especially Gust is a great tool to put somebody out of position. And Ruby and Snitch are not in the best position now. That being said, there's a lot of oil here. So Wooby should be fine. Bunker put down. And Snitch goes for Genji. For Hanzo. And again, this is where Varian struggles. Thrown over, stunned, no shield wall, and he just dies. And that's where I was personally worried about the Varian pick. Polster flies in, interrupts the Genji. And this is where it started hurting for Dignitas a lot, because they're going to lose both altars, I think. And they lost a little bit more in terms of their health bars. So they're very scared now to fight here. And obviously, without their main tank, it's very difficult to engage because they're missing the taunt. Actually, I don't remember how they get Wooby, so I'm just going to look at this because the observers definitely also look more around this. So Wooby is super low. Oh yeah, I remember now. So he tries to be sneaky and hide here. Did he see him? No. Okay, let's go back. I want to know when he saw him. Here's the fight. Wooby runs away. So they see him here. The throw. Mount. So he doesn't know that he's in there. Oh, unfortunate. So I don't know if you can, like, walk further up here or something. But well, that's the end of Wooby. So while they try to catch him here, is very like dangerous. Their other team members are just like so good at poking and preventing Dignitas from doing anything that this is an easy cap. So now this looked like, okay, this is game over. Dignitas just lost everything. They're losing like 8 lives here. They're losing another 4 lives here. So that's like 12 lives down, and they only have 5 lives left on the core. And everybody thought like, well, I don't know if everybody, but like I think at this point it was like, okay, so Europe has lost it. Like we don't come back from this. Dignitas doesn't have anything. They're down like 2 levels now. Genji clearly has figured out how to fight into them. Dignitas hasn't had a blow up in a while where like they were able to execute properly. So there was definitely like the moment where I think a lot of people thought, okay, this is over. And the cool thing is, Dignitas said, like, we don't care. Like, they were not bothered by this, or at least it didn't look like they were bothered by this. Again, good engagement, and this time they get the blow up. And the good thing is, they also get the bell tower here. So sure, Genji gets the bell tower on top, but doesn't mean that this is over by any stretch of the imagination. Obviously, Genji now has the only thing that they want to do is literally get level 20. So for them, losing a member here is actually pretty bad. But on the other hand, they still have Falstad. Look at him. Just flying around here, soaking XP. And they're probably happy that they have Falstad and Dehaka in this situation, because Dignitas can't really catch up on this. Unless they get like caught over and over again, Dignitas has no chance to catch up on Genji. So, Genji's level 20. And this is where I think the whole fun began for a lot of people. So Dignitas is rotating around. They're just trying to find building damage where they can. And Genji just wants to find a way for them to secure a win condition. And the win condition is if they have 5 bell tower shots that they can fire, every altar that they can cap is lethal. So Dignitas trades out both of the bell towers. That means both teams have 4 shots again, meaning Dignitas can give this up. They can give up the bell tower shot. Unfortunately, though, Genji's rotation is a little bit quicker, so now Dignitas has to panic. Dignitas has to panic because if Garrus channels through here, when this is down, and like the timing here is nearly perfect. Like if this goes down a little quicker, I think this game is over here. Let's see. Yeah, Tis has to cancel it. Yeah, I think if that was like even better time, that would be a crazy game. So Dignitas is very, very, very short before level 20. And now they just want to interrupt things. Because again, this is lethal. This is the last thing that they want to gap 3. Because if this happens, the game is over. But the level 19 versus level 20, so they can't really fight against Dignitas. Against Genji. So what do? They just outpoke them. And they have great poke. Li Ming, Wubi, even Snitch, like all of them can interrupt here very well. And this is a very difficult position because, again, the oil is here, and the oil is a very low cooldown. And then Li Ming has very low cooldown under her mana is super high. We have Lurking Arm increase reach here within my reach. So for Genji, it's nearly impossible to channel this through without any sort of like commitment. Like they need to get a pick. And this is where I felt like Genji was a little scared of this for, I think, no reason at all, because they had all of their heroics. They have Storm Talents. Sure, they engage into Dignitas is difficult, but I felt like they just wanted Dignitas to make the mistake here by panicking around this altar. And I don't think that that's realistic because, again, Dignitas has great poke. Like, there's no need for them to be afraid. And then Poik just like starts bashing away at this tower so that if this gets killed, this wouldn't be lethal anymore. Snitch with, I want to say, the groundbreaker debate, but I'm not sure what happened there. So now Genji a little bit more offensive. And then here, as you can see, within my reach, cancel. Genji has to do something. I think they realize that in a minute that they can't just stay around and try to cap this. And now Dignitas reached level 20. So what happens now? So if you haven't seen, like, this wasn't a big emphasis from the casters as well. This is Banner of Dalaran. If you activate this, 20% increased spell power to allied heroes. That means Snitch and Poik will do more damage. And Dignitas just wants to get somebody. Indomitable, again, clicked so well. Like, the reaction times by these pro players are just incredible. And now we have a fight coming up. Tist under pressure. Can't get it. And then now everybody kind of falls low. Snitch is low. Tist is low. Reset gets low. Poik is kind of low. So everybody's like losing a little bit of their life. And again, it's still a tournament life on the line for Dignitas. And this is still 5 life points. So taking this altar would win them the game. And then this is also very smart by Rich. He says like, well, we have this coming here our way. If this camp gets through here, walks through here, that's 3 lives less, and then we can like take different things. If you don't let us take this, we can just like delay you as well, and you have to take care of this, or you lose 3 lives, and then we have it even more easy to take, you know, boss or more sappers or whatever. Unfortunately for Rich, Tist decides to poke a little bit more around. And I think that's a big mistake in this case, because obviously Taunt is now ready again and Lurking Arm is ready again. So now he just gets blown up. And this is one of the big things that that turns around this game, I think. These small mistakes that make it difficult for Genji to be in a good position. And as you can see, Dignitas just wipes the floor with them. We have another look at this, because I think it's a very easy thing to say, like, oh well, Tis shouldn't have done this or whatever. But let's have another look. I think the communication also broke together for Genji. So Rich says, I'm going to do this here. And then Tis says like, okay, I'm just going to poke around, because he has been doing this for a while now. He just has gone forward, Groundbreaker in here to get a shield, and then he backs out, right? So there's like a lot of things that can go wrong, obviously, for Tist. Now also, Malfurion is here, Reset is here, so if they engage around here into Tist, the Mighty Gust doesn't blow them away a lot. And as we've seen, Wind Tunnel has been picked. So while it can blow them away a little bit further, it has to be perfect. Otherwise, it just blows like in this area, and then Tist still dies. So I think that's a big issue. And then also, if you look at the vision now Tist has, it's pretty non-existent. This is something that obviously is not shown on broadcast because we always see the full vision, right? So Tist doesn't really know what's happening. So he also tries to get vision, and now he sees like, okay, here's my shield, all cool. And then suddenly JPL and Zelia come around the corner. Genji is far away, and they just get wiped. And there's not a lot that they can do to fight this. Gus still on cooldown as well, so a little unfortunate how that happened. But again, this is something that you don't see on the broadcast that well, but like the vision wasn't there for Tist that much. So that's just what happened. And as you can imagine, at this point, everybody is screaming and yelling how amazing this play was and how Dignitas comes back from this. And now we have to like just appreciate how smart Dignitas is. They have 40 seconds approximately until the enemy team is back. They're down by 18 lives. They don't cap this, but what they do is they take this, they take this. There's already a mini wave coming here. They will take this. They're going to take this. And you're completely right. They're going to take this as well. So their plan is to take everything off the map and paint it red. They want to have all bell towers red. They want to have all of them secured before they take the altar. And as I said, their wave clear is not very good. But 40 seconds is a long time in Heroes of the Storm. So as you can see, they send everybody around. Snitch clears the minions. Now they use the bunker down here to clear this as well before Ming actually is able to clear this. Stukov is actually first to take this out. And then Snitch takes this. And now this is gone. And now they have every bell tower. That means not only are they shooting 7 times, no, they also shoot continuously from their core because they have all of them. And suddenly, this gets very, very dramatic for Genji, because what do? Genji had great wave clear, but the building damage is not very reliable. Dehaka doesn't do a lot of building damage. Falsa can poke, it's fine. Genji's building damage is actually pretty atrocious, so it's not very, very good. And as you can see, Falset goes down here and tries to do something. So now, you have to understand, like, if Genji doesn't clear one of these towers, they just lose the game in a couple of seconds. Because they're just going to lose more and more lives. Snitch, super risky engage into 5. I think when I saw this, I was like, this is going to lose them the game. I thought, like, there's going to be a Dragon Arrow, there's going to be something happening here with Snitch, and he's just going to die. Very, I don't want to say unlucky, it's so like uncommon mistake by Sake. Like, normally these routes are like perfect. Look at this. This is the Dragon Arrow. Like, I was like screaming when I saw this. Have a look again. So, Genji decides to not care about this anymore because for Dignitas to go around here, it takes longer. So they're going to take a long time around here, right? So Genji hopes that in the time that Dignitas has to walk around here and go in here or go around here, they can at least like take this 80% down and then maybe like burst it down a little bit with some poke. So that's the plan. And Snitch says like, no, I know better. You guys will not do this. So he just, first of all, gets like a couple of arrows in his face. And then he sees Reset being low because he takes like 3 or 4 shots from the bell tower. So he goes in and hits him with a couple of shurikens. He dodges it. And he knows that Rich is gonna Dragon's Arrow, right? But look how close this is. This is the Dragon's Arrow. Genji's model is still here. Look at this. Holy shit. This is so good. Like, don't get me wrong. There's also a factor of luck here. Like, Snitch obviously didn't plan it like pixel perfect. But still. So now Falset is low. And you're going to see one of the best kills I've ever seen. Here comes Snitch. And here you go. It's so satisfying. And I mean, obviously, that's why a lot of people like to play Genji, right? But Repulsion from Li Ming drops him pretty low. Auto attack. Snitch drops low. Whew, Tranquility goes on. Snitch is like super low as well. Like if Hanzo like scatter arrows him here, he's dead. And he just goes in. And he's dead. I want to see, like, people said like the final cut did it, but I'm not so sure if it's actually final cut. Where is he? There you go. Yeah, it's a shuriken that overkills him. So Swift Strike brings him low, and then he gets 3 shurikens, 6 overkill. That being said, the final cut that comes in would have killed him anyway. But again, one of the most satisfying kills I've ever seen. And Snitch obviously delivering here. Gives Li Ming also another reset. Merfuren out of position now, because obviously this game is like falling apart. Tist and Wubi are fighting around whatever here is happening. We're going to have a look at that later on. But they get Merfuren, another reset for Li Ming. Push back against Kyosha. And that's it. There's no way for Genji to do anything here anymore. Genji tries to swap around, get other things going. But realistically, they just don't have enough time. And here comes the last shot. And before the game ends, we're going to go back. I want to see what happened with Wubi and Tiz there. This game had everything, man. Like this, again, if you haven't seen the series, watch the series. It's amazing. It's one of the best. I want to say it's the best Heroes of the Storm game that has ever been played. So Wubi is defending just middle. I can understand this because you don't want to give up a huge rotation over here and then you lose the tower. Because again, your way around this is much longer because you literally can't walk through here. You just die. So I want to see what happens here. Interesting. I think that's maybe Tist has given up here already. I'm not so sure. Yeah, I feel like that's like misplay by Tist as well. But I mean, can you play like there's a lot of pressure on these people here as well. So I don't want to say like, oh, I could have played this better because obviously I'm not Tist. Well, this is the game. Like, and again, you don't think there's comeback mechanics. Towers of Doom is the best map, I think, to showcase how great Heroes of the Storm is and how great competitive Heroes of the Storm is. Because so many games go down the wire. It's incredible. Like, it's really, 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 really fun to watch these matches. Yeah, I mean, like, again, Genji had a great draft. I think they had a better draft in my opinion. I felt the Varian was very risky, and it didn't pay off early game enough to carry Dignitas over. And then the beautiful thing about Heroes is like if you have the stamina and if you have the patience to play through like being down and basically having your last life on this one altar, and you just stay calm and try to, you know, play your game and not be like become disconnected from the game and be like, oh, we lost already, or just like get negative. I think this shows that you can turn around these games. Obviously, these are pro players as well. A lot of them have been to LAN for lots of time, so nerves don't play as much as a factor as for normal people like us that only play like Hero League games. But this definitely shows everybody that no matter how strong the opponent is, if you can get into late game somehow and you can find a team wipe, you can win a game. And the wonderful thing about Towers of Doom is also that, in my opinion, Genji also had a chance to come back from this. Obviously, it's difficult for them. All of the odds are down, and again, their building clear is not great. So for them to come so close and not be able to get it is also disappointing. But they had the chance. Like I think there was a couple of misplays here where they just panicked now, and didn't have the calm demeanor that the Dignitas has. And just like okay, like say like okay, we're gonna take this or we're gonna take this. Like look. Both of the towers are like at the similar health, right? So, you want to say that they could have been able to take one of them at least, and they had Gust and everything there. Like, I think if you gust away Dignitas here, you can just take the tower. There's not much that Dignitas can do against this, maybe bunker, but hindsight is always 20/20, as they say. So that's it. Let's have a quick look at just damage and everything. Look at Rich. Rich is a fucking beast. He died 3 times, which is very uncharacteristic for him, I think, in this tournament. But again, he's a very aggressive player, so he definitely tends to overstep his boundaries from time to time. And the thing that is interesting to me is also like Li Ming and Hanzo actually have the most siege damage. It's not the fault set, it's not Wubi, it's not the Dihaka. It's actually Hanzo and Li Ming who did the most damage here in both categories. And then XP, this is where I thought, or this is where I feel like the kills obviously helped quite a bit, right? Like getting the kills as the underdog gives you so much XP, so that's why Dignitas has 3 people here in the top. But then again, I think Kyocha and Falsat Reset shared a lot of the XP duty, so it's not as one-sided. But then again, the underdog bonus is great. And as you can see, like the kills also shows you what both teams wanted to do, right? Like the 14 kills definitely show what Dignitas wanted to do with their composition, blow up somebody, and then fight whoever is left. And MVP for me in this game, clearly, as it's also highlighting here, is Genji. Snitch played amazing in this game. The 2 dodges, the 1 arrow here, and then the second arrow. Like this one, again, I think it's also a little bit of luck, but that's what separates them from normal players, or I mean, especially from me, right? Like I don't even have the presence of mind to understand that Hanzo has the heroic and will use it on me. Like I oftentimes just run into things and be like, oh yeah, I should have seen this coming, but these guys actually know it's coming and prepare accordingly for it. Yeah, this is my favorite game, my favorite competitive game. I think it's even better than well, I mean it's debatable obviously, but last year mid-season Brawl, and I think this year Western Clash, also Towers of Doom, in the finals were great. Again, I think Towers of Doom is the best competitive map. I suck at it, but I think it's a great map and shows a lot of the cool things about Heroes of the Storm. Quick look at talents. So again, this is what pro players are playing. I think this is very standard in what you will find on every guide in Hotstock's page. But I just wanted to show it to you. We're going to go through the heroics one more time so that you can see it. So Isolation, Dragon's Arrow, Mighty Gust, Warlord's Challenge, and Tranquility on the blue team. And then we have X-Strike, Bunker Drop, Massive Shove, Wave of Force, and Warbringer, respectively. Taunt on level 4 for variant. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this. And again, if you haven't watched the series yet, please watch Dignitas versus Genji. I'm going to put the link to the VOD into the description, so if you want to look at that, do it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will try to get you more regular content again when it's not as hot here and I'm dying on Sundays and don't want to do anything. Again, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.